The next generation of consoles is approaching. It's only a couple of days away, and a lot of you guys have your TVs ready to go and ready for these next gen consoles. But there's also a lot of people that are still on the fence on whether or not they should buy a new TV or just wait. So for the people that do want to buy a new TV to take advantage of the next gen hardware, let me talk to you about a couple of TVs that will 100% fully support your next gen console features. So the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 will be utilized to the maximum ability. Hey everybody, my name is KG and I talk about technology, TVs, video games, and much more. So if you're into any of that stuff, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this. Alright, so in this video, we're just going to talk about every TV that is fully 100% capable of maximizing your next generation console. So everything on this list is 4K, 120hz, HDR, and VRR. And I know if you're buying a console and a TV at the same time, a lot of people want to pair this together. So to make it easier, I put together a list of all of the TVs that do support it. If there is a TV out there and you don't see it on this list, it is not supported 100%. Keep in mind that these TVs that I'm recommending are just examples of the TVs that will be able to fully support the console. If you already have a really nice HDR TV and your set is capable of doing 120 Hz and at least 1440p, you probably really don't need to upgrade anytime soon. But those that are still on a 4K 60 Hz TV, or if they're on a 1080p TV, take note because these are some of the best TVs on the market right now. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and then we'll get into some TVs. Alright, so right now I'm just going to list all of the TVs that fully support everything we want out of our next gen consoles. And then I'm going to go in and we're going to cross some names off of the list that I definitely think you guys should avoid and look towards other options. So right now we're just going to list everything and then we're going to go and break it down one by one. All right, in no particular order, here is the list. Starting off with VIZIO, we have the P-Series, the P-Series Quantum X, and the P-Series OLED. Next up for Sony, we have the Sony 900H. That is the only TV that Sony offers that is going to be on this list. Next up, we have LG. Every single one of their OLED TVs will have HDMI 2.1 and all the features that we want. Aside from that, they also have the LG Nano Cell series, and only the 85, the 90, and the 91 series TVs will fully support it. Next up, we have Samsung, the Q70T, the Q80T, the Q90T, and one particular note about the Q80T, the 49-inch does not have 120 Hz. It is a 60 Hz panel, and it does not have VRR, so keep that in mind. Alright, so those are the TVs. Let's break them down one by one, but first, let's remove some TVs from the equation. Alright, so now these are some TVs that I think you should fully avoid and just cross off your list because either one, they're not great quality TVs, or there's just better deals for what's available in that price bracket. In the first one, I have to say the Q70T is an edgelit TV and there's just better options available at that price range. And same thing with the Nano Cell 85, the 90, and 91 series. I think those are names that you should definitely cross off your list, with the exception of the Nano Cell 85 for 49-inch if you need something lower than a 55-inch to have HDMI 2.1. That is going to be the only TV that can do it under 55 inches that is not an OLED. The only other TV, of course, is that OLED 48-inch C10. But that is quite a pricey figure. So those are your options for 49 inches. And that is going to be the last time I talk about those TVs that we just crossed off the list. Alright, so also in this video, I won't be talking about the VIZIO P-Series or the P-Series Quantum because I have not had a lot of hands-on experience with these TVs, and I've heard that the VRR is very hit or miss. Sometimes it works and most of the time it doesn't. So I can't really speak too much on this TV. This is something that you're definitely going to have to go and research yourself if this TV is on your list. I'm not saying that it's a bad TV. I'm just saying that I don't have any experience with this TV. Every other TV on this list I have seen in person, I have played with, I have watched, and I can tell you what to expect. Alright, so I know the title says that it is a top 5 list, but this is actually just going to be a top 4 list of TVs, and number 4 is the Sony X900H. This TV is a very great TV for a budget option. If your budget is $1,000 and you want a 65-inch TV, chances are on Black Friday it will go back to that sale price and you'll be able to grab a 65-inch X900H for $1,000. This is a fantastic deal, and if this is your budget, this is probably a no-brainer purchase for a lot of people. Now, there is some downsides to the X900H. It does not match the peak brightness levels of a Q80T from Samsung or a Q90T from Samsung. So it is just going to be a step below those TVs, and mainly because of the brightness factor. But this TV doesn't have a lot of blooming issues, and game mode is fantastic. So you're not going to be missing out on too much if you go with this over a Q80T, and you'll save a couple of bucks. That's not saying that I think this TV is better than the Q80T, I just think it is a better option. Now moving on to number 3, that is the Samsung Q80T. The Samsung Q80T is, think of it as the younger brother to the Q90T. It tries so hard to be everything that it wanted to be, a Q90T, but it just can't get on that level. What I mean by that is it has everything the Q90T has, but it just lacks in a couple of departments. So your color is fantastic on the Q80T. I would argue that it is very similar to the Q90T's color. And really, when it comes to contrast, you're only missing a little bit of darkness on the black levels to get that kind of perfect black look. You know, really, when it comes down to it, I think that the Q80T is in a good spot. And if you're really not looking for the brightest TV on the market, but you still want to have some of the greatest features that are in an LCD TV, and you don't want to go that route of an OLED, and you want to save a couple of bucks off of the top tier TVs, then the Q80T could be a really good option for you. You're still getting Game Motion Plus capabilities and all of the HDMI 2.1 features, and you're also getting a really great package altogether. This color on these QLED TVs of 2020, they're just fantastic. Overall, the Q80T is about half of the peak brightness level of a Q90T. But other than that, it is a very similar TV. Contrast ratio is a little bit lower, but I still think this is a great buy for the price. Number 2 on the list is going to be the VIZIO OLED, which is going to be the same panel as the LG OLED, and that is on sale right now for $1,500 for a 65-inch TV. It is not a bad deal at all, but you do have to remember that this TV is still brand new. It is dealing with some issues with VRR and crushed blacks. It is also dealing with a lot of the issues that the C10 had launched with, but is now fixed via firmware. The other thing is that VIZIO just hasn't fixed this with firmware right now as of recording this video. And I could be wrong, but from the last time I looked, that hasn't been the case. So you wonder if you're getting a lack of quickness on the support team, because LG, they fixed their issues with the firmware pretty quickly, I would say. And same thing with Samsung. They had issues and they fixed it pretty quickly. Now, we have to find out, is VIZIO going to be able to fix their issues in a timely manner as well? Because I think that really does factor into if you're going to buy this TV or not. And for the price, it is a very, very nice TV. It's just that it's a first year model for VIZIO. You know, it's the first time that they've published a OLED. So it's definitely kind of like a buyer beware type situation. But it is using the same panel as the C10, so you might be okay there. Also, I do want to touch on the fact that it uses SmartCast, which is really kind of just dumbcast. And I say that because it is always crashing, it is always rebooting the TV. There has been countless issues. People have reported that this is just a horrible system that's in place, and I can actually vouch for that. I have a M series from last year, and I can't count how many times I just can't launch my YouTube app, and sometimes when I'm watching YouTube, they actually just restart the app. And my TV restarts itself too. It's weird, and that is something that you have to worry about when it comes to VIZIO TVs. Now, hopefully this is something they fix in the future, and they're better at implementing SmartCast. But if you are getting this TV, you might want to look into a different kind of smart TV streaming device to kind of replace SmartCast, because it's not a great smart TV interface. And the number one TV on this list is a tie. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I had to do it. It's the Samsung Q90T and the LG C10. And I've kind of explained how I love both of these TVs. I was so on the fence about which one I wanted to get. And to this day, I go back and forth and I look at these TVs constantly. And I'm always thinking about situations where one TV is better than the other. And that's really kind of what it boils down to. It is a preference type deal with these TVs. I really feel like the Q90T could be the top TV because of its brightness and color. It's just so vivid. It's so bright. And it blows me away sometimes with its HDR capabilities. You know, on the flip side, I can definitely see the C10 also being the top tier TV of 2020. And that's because of the black levels. So the scenes, the dark scenes, all that stuff, when you're playing games, you got dark scenes going on, you're playing Batman or something. Fantastic on an OLED. There's no doubt about that. However, if you're playing a brighter game and you're in a scene and then all of a sudden it gets bright, well, your TV's going to dim because of a feature called ABL. And it's not really a feature. It's more of just like a way that it tries to prevent your screen from burning in due to bright images. So auto brightness limiter is what ABL is. And it takes a bright image and it dims it down. So you'll have scenes that are meant to be very bright and vivid, but really they're just kind of dull and not popping the way that they should be. So that is the biggest issue that I take with the C10. And the biggest issue I take with the Q90T is definitely going to be that while it does have really inky blacks, you're still just never going to touch an OLED technology when it comes to black levels. That said, I am very satisfied with the Q90T's black levels. I think that the contrast on this TV is excellent. and most people would be impressed with it. However, the other downside with the Q90T is you're really playing a huge high stakes game of panel lottery. And I say this because there's a lot of people that have dealt with some really bad dirty screen effect on their Q90T and really on all of their Q series televisions. Me personally, I have not had this issue with my TV. I consider myself really lucky that the dirty screen effect that is present on my TV is not something that hinders my everyday viewing. And I would say that with screen uniformity in mind is if it's not affecting your everyday viewing, don't go and run tests looking for it because you'll absolutely ruin your TV experience. That goes for people with an OLED as well. Vertical banding is something that can definitely happen on OLEDs, and if you go looking for it, you might not like what you see. However, that said, I think that if it is bad enough, it'll pop in through your regular viewing experience, your regular gaming experience, and you'll notice this. So that's kind of my take on the screen uniformity issues. I think that one way to look at it is you have one TV that is particularly really great at HDR, bright, vivid scenes, and everything just kind of pops with nice, vivid colors. And on the other side, you have a TV that is perfect for a dark room. And really, when it comes to movies that are darker, games that are darker, then I think that the LG C10 is going to be the winner there. I think when you see an LG C10 in person for the first time, if you've never experienced OLED, this is going to kind of blow you away. But also on the flip side, I think that if you are used to really dull TVs, really dim TVs, if you've seen a Q90T with high brightness and HDR and it pops for the very first time, I think that would win you over as well. So I actually came from an OLED before I bought my Q90T, and the reason why I switched was absolutely because of ABL. Alright, so we can't talk about OLED without talking about burn-in. This is a very hot button issue, and I think that it is overblown in some aspects, but I also think it is underreported in other aspects. So the truth is it's somewhere in the middle, and I think that if you are a hardcore gamer and you play the same game every day for 6-7 hours a day, and you just keep playing this game daily, throughout the whole year, and it has static on-screen heads-up displays, then you might have some burn-in issues eventually. Now, if you're just a casual gamer, you play about maybe 3 hours, 4 hours a day max, but you always switch up the games that you play. You don't really play too many games that have static screen elements, and you watch TV on occasion. You're not watching something that has a logo that sticks on the screen. You're not somebody that watches the same app every day for 4 hours. Then I think that burn-in probably won't affect you ever. And that's not to say that, there's not a possibility, but for most people, I think that if they fall under that category, then they should not be afraid of burn-in. So that said, if you don't treat your TV right, you might have issues with it. And you actually do have to treat your OLED differently from any other TV that you have. So, for example, there's times where I have left my Q90T on, or I went downstairs with it on, and then I forgot that it was on, but I left it on a sports center or something like that. And if I had done that with an OLED, I'm not saying that it would have burned in, but it would have been a little risky, and I would have been scared for sure in the back of my mind when I came upstairs. I would have had to do like a burn-in test and make sure that I didn't mess up. So really, burn-in is just going to be something, if you can tolerate that it can happen, then I think that you should be safe from it as long as you're smart with your TV. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't want to worry about burn-in, and if it's going to be in the back of your mind all the time, the way I think about it is like, if you've already burned in the idea of burn-in in your head, then you should not get an OLED, because it's just going to bother you and you're not going to have peace of mind. Or at least if you do get an OLED and you have that burned into the back of your mind, so to speak, then you should probably get one of those warranties from like Best Buy or something that cover burn-in. So at the end of the day, it comes down to whether you want a very, very, very bright TV, or if you just want to have an OLED, which has really great technology for, the best picture quality possible in most aspects. And you'll have to sacrifice a little bit of brightness when you go with an OLED. So you're not going to get the same real screen brightness, as the Q90T. You're just not going to get it. So if you really like super bright HDR, you want your HDR to pop more than it would on an OLED, then the Q90T is more for you. Now, I think that there's really no wrong answer here. I keep going back and forth when I recommend this TV to people and when I recommend the C10 to people. And I always ask, hey, what's your situation like? Are you in a bright room? Are you in a dark room? Do you like bright games? Do you like dark games? And it all boils down to the same sort of questions. It's a preference thing. So I want you guys to ask yourself those kind of questions and then make your decision based off of that if you're choosing between these two TVs. All right. Well, that about covers it today. Sorry, we went a little bit long and a little bit rambly. But hey, if you guys did enjoy this video, please do leave a like and a comment letting me know what TV you are going to get, if you're getting a TV for the next gen, or just go ahead and tell me what TV you have and throw in what console you guys are looking forward to the most. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys 100%. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say it enough. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and have a great day.